All right, welcome back, my friends. What's today? Today's Tuesday. Bitcoin kind of bounced again today in a little bit of a seesaw, and then miners kind of improved towards the end of the day, but they were mostly in the red. A couple of them were in the green. Bitcoin, it looks like it's setting up for a nice pump here. It is just like priming right now to go ballistic, go up much higher. But we have a bunch of great news stories here today that are bullish on not only Bitcoin, but Bitcoin miners as well. We have a story from Cipher. We have a story from Riot as well. And then we got CORZ to talk about as well. There's an update for them as well. So we'll take a look at those things. We'll also look at the miners as far as their MNAV value right now and our institutions buying into them. Kind of interesting to see what happened in the last 6 months and the last month as well. We'll get through all that data and then get into Q&A. But always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice for Tim only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. And if you would be so kind, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously, and share this video with others that you might find it useful. But here's what we got on Bitcoin going on right now here. So if we look at Bitcoin here, Bitcoin was actually in the green today, right? We're in the new day right now, but today, excuse me, it closed at a new high here. It's the first high above this range here. So it closed today at 106,883. We did hit a high of 107,355 and a low of 104,209. So we were kind of seesawing throughout the day, but we did end up higher. Nonetheless here, and we are down a little bit here, and we got a little higher here as well. We got to 107,274.99 cents, which is close to where we were just on Monday's highs at least. So what I'm saying by Bitcoin kind of priming right now, we've seen this kind of line here right around the 107,300 line right around there. It's now priming for 3 days in a row basically. So whenever I see that, two things are going to happen. One, we're either going to get rejected at this line and go down, or the second option is we're going to actually break through it and go much higher here, much faster than we think. I think it's going to be the latter. I think we're going to go up much higher here, much higher. I don't know how much faster, but we're going to go definitely higher. I think this line right here, when it does break, and it does look like it wants to break, is going to go up because we've hit it. We've got rejected. We came down already here. We hit it, we got rejected again, and then we hit it again here, or got close to it. And, you know, we're looking to go up higher here potentially. So I think that's going to happen here possibly tomorrow as well. But we'll see, right? There's a bunch of people on X talking about bearish divergence and all that stuff. I don't think that's going to play out. I think we're going to go up higher. I think there's just too many good stories happening here. There's too much adoption, too much money flowing into Bitcoin right now that it would actually cause it to go down much more than what we already come down here just on Monday itself. So I don't think that's going to be the case. I think we're going to go up much higher here. All right. Markets were down today. Maybe that's why the miners were also down today, but we got majority of the miners down here. Bitfarms was down 2.61% on the day. BitTBT was up 1.76. Cipher was down 0.79. Cleanspark was down just a little bit, 1.42%. CORZ was up a little bit, 0.65. Hive was down a little bit, 0.48. HUT8 was down 1.98%. IREN was up just a little bit, 0.82. It's battling with the 100 simple moving. It's kind of like some of the other miners are as well. Mara was down 0.8. Riot was down 0.45. Wolf was down 2%. And the MicroStrategy was actually up 0.85. Galaxy was down 3% on the day. Coin was down just 0.99%. Semler was down 3.21%. And this guy here again, the blockchain group, man, this thing has continued to be a rocket ship here. It has gone parabolic here. It's gone crazy. What is going on with this one here? I got to look some more into this blockchain group, see what's going on there. But that thing is going crazy. I don't know if you guys got into it. If you did, congrats there. Holy cow. Jimmy was up a little bit here. Small miners were also kind of more or less mixed, more down to the downside. Annie was up nicely, 7.27%. Argo was down. BitDigital was down. DigiPower now was down 6.5%. DMG was up just a little bit, 1.52. Mawson was down, and Canon was down 7%. The ETFs were mixed as well. BitQ was up. BKCH was mixed or down. DAP was up, and WGMI was down as well on that one. All right, so let's take a look at some of the stories that we have. But first, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin price performance here for month of May right now. It's up 13.2%, so better than where it was even yesterday. April was 14%. We're really close to that right now as it is. I think we're going to go much higher before the end of the month here. We'll see exactly where we end up. I have no crystal ball on that one, but we'll see where we go. As far as the Bitcoin ETFs are concerned here, do we have another positive ETF in day? It does look like it here. And yesterday I talked about us getting maybe to 500 million. And sure enough, right? IBIT, BlackRock bought basically 305 million there. That pushed us over the 500 million mark there. to a total of 667 million bought from the Bitcoin ETFs. Today, we definitely have a positive here. We'll see if IBIT bought. I believe they will. And we'll get another positive day on it as well. So we're having a continuation of a lot of positive days here. We've had some red days, but mostly positive on those days here. So that's looking good for us. All right. There's just so many good news stories happening here. I'm trying to be very picky on what I present to you guys, because if I picked everything that's coming out right now, we'd be spending, I'd have like 30 tabs open. So I'm trying to be a little bit picky here and go through this stuff that I think is probably like the most useful for us. But here's what we got. Just in, more Americans now own Bitcoin than gold. So this is from River Research. It looks like a River did this. And you got 37 million of Americans own gold. You got now 50 million Americans own Bitcoin. So adoption is happening for Bitcoin. Next here, why Bitcoin? I don't know if you guys saw this, but we're going to take a listen to this. This is from Michael Saylor. I think this is an excellent video here of why Bitcoin. And we are seeing this play out in real time. This is only about 2 minutes worth. Definitely worth the listen here. So let's take a listen to it, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on it as well.
Bitcoin represents the greatest digital transformation of the 21st century. It represents digital capital. The global wealth is distributed across assets that provide utility and others that preserve capital. But risk is destroying trillions of dollars of that capital every single year. And investors are turning to digital capital in the form of Bitcoin in order to avoid that risk. Digital capital is economically and technically superior to physical capital, and it represents a revolutionary advance in capital preservation. The asset class itself is growing from trillions to hundreds of trillions of dollars, and it is backed by digital power along with political and economic power. Bitcoin's the best asset you can own. The numbers speak for themselves. It makes a lot more sense to buy Bitcoin than to buy your own stock back, or to hold Bitcoin rather than holding bonds. If you're going to outperform, you're going to need Bitcoin. Luckily, you have an alternative. Public support for Bitcoin is surging, as is support for the U.S. Bitcoin Strategic Reserve.
Sell them into Bitcoin. That way, we wouldn't have to use any new dollars.
As is Wall Street support.
I believe Bitcoin is legitimate.
And the President of the United States says,
never sell your Bitcoin, right?
That's why we're entering year one of the crypto renaissance. And you have a choice to make. Cling to the past or embrace the future. Divest billions of dollars and slow your growth rate. Invest billions of dollars and accelerate your growth rate.
And what are we seeing here? We're seeing a lot of companies invest to accelerate their growth. Not only companies, but people, everybody else, countries, states, everything is going in that direction here. So I just thought that was really a good video, right? It's kind of where do you see yourself in the future? Where do you see yourself in the next 10, 20, 30 years? What's the monetary system going to look like? Is it going to be still cash, right? US based, or is the US still going to be the king there? I don't know. But could Bitcoin definitely have an input or play a bigger role in that as well? I do think so, based on what we're seeing here. You can call me a Bitcoin max, whatever you want to call me, but I think that there is something to be said about you got to start planning a little bit more for the future, right? Bitcoin is that kind of answer potentially for us here going forward. We've seen everything else go up in value, go up in price, while the Bitcoin that you have actually makes things less and less expensive, right? If you look at just the price of a house, right? If you look at going back 10 years, it might have cost you at that point 1,000 Bitcoin. Now you can probably buy a house for 4 Bitcoin or something like that, right? So you're seeing that the value of Bitcoin is much more powerful now than it has been in the past, and that will be also the case going in the next 10 years. That value of that Bitcoin that you have is going to be much more powerful than it is right now. So as always, like I say to you guys, don't sell unless you really have to, right? To feed your family or something like that. In those instances, you got to sell because you got to do what you got to do to survive. But you should be only stacking sats right now, accumulating as much as you can going forward here. All right, so that was great. Let's take a look at this next one here. This is kind of awesome too. New Dave Ramsey show says investors should allocate a portion of their investment into Bitcoin as part of a diversified portfolio. This is new, right? in the past, Ramsey has been against Bitcoin. He has not been a proponent of it at all. He, was actually against it. So wheels are changing, wheels are turning, and everything else is going more towards Bitcoin adoption, and I'm loving it. I think what Ramsey has to say is great in the way that he helps people get out of financial troubles and see the light sometimes. It's fantastic. I think we need more of those types of people in our society, right? Financial wealth is not taught in the schools, unfortunately, and we have to learn it ourselves. So having people like Dave Ramsey and others is awesome because they do show you how you can, do much better if you just focus on certain things. So that's great news there. Next is 1.1 billion of Bitcoin shorts will be liquidated at 108,000. Game on. So this is kind of why we're maybe seeing this kind of an attempt, maybe by the shorts, to prevent Bitcoin going above the 107,000, 250, 230, or whatever it is, line there to not get liquidated. And when this does happen, shorts are going to get liquidated, they're going to cover or whatnot, and Bitcoin's going to go up much higher, and we're definitely going to get past the 109,000 previous all-time high. We're going how far higher? I don't know. Within how fast? I don't know, but it's going to happen. It's going to go up much higher here. Next is property market group to accept Bitcoin for Florida condo purchases. Adoption again, right? You're seeing companies accept Bitcoin again. You're going to see this accelerate as well. I think over time, this is going to just, from one company to another, it's just going to continue to grow as Bitcoin becomes more and more mainstream. So this is great news for us. As that happens, you also have more people transacting with it. You have more transaction fees. Everything else improves, and that also helps out the miners as well. Next year, breaking 300,000 Bitcoin call options are now the second most popular bet on Dearbrit. Bloomberg reports big money is going long higher. So that's awesome. 300,000 long options. I mean, that's fantastic. So are they, investors are more bullish on Bitcoin going up much higher, possibly even more higher than we think it's going to go, right? We're saying 180, 200,000, maybe 250. They're saying 300,000 on call options here. So we could definitely have a really nice run here in the next maybe 6, 9, 12 months. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be awesome. And then next here, just in Thumbs Up Media officially files to raise up to $500 million to buy Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset, right? More companies buying it, putting it on their reserves, taking it off the exchanges, taking it off OTCs. What does that mean? Supply crunch for us. When it comes to Bitcoin, what does that mean? Bitcoin price goes up much higher, much faster than we think. This is awesome. And then next here, Fidelity just bought 188 million worth of Bitcoin. Here we go. I don't know if they bought it directly or if they bought it through an ETF or something like that. But more proof, companies, investment firms, they're all getting into it, right? Their eyes are waking up to it. So I don't know how much more bullish you can be on this, but this is great news. Again, more great news here. And then this in as well, Panama introduces a bill to allow citizens to buy, sell, and accept Bitcoin freely anywhere in the country, right? You're seeing more and more countries do this as well. It just takes the first country to do it, and then you eventually have this domino effect where other countries participate in this as well. And you're going to see this continue on as well. I mean, we have a lot of countries that this could happen to, and this is just another one of those stepping stones in that process right now. And it's awesome, right? More adoption means higher Bitcoin price. This all is what we want. This is all what we need for not only for Bitcoin to go up much higher, but also for the miners to do very, very well going forward as well. These are all great things. And like I said, there's probably a bunch of other stories that I could have covered here that were a little bit less of an impact, but they're still of an impact on Bitcoin here. So, try to tune out some of the naysayers, tune out some of the people that are calling for Bitcoin to go back down to 80,000, 70,000 or something like that. Could we get a reset or a retest of those levels? I don't know. I think the chances of that happening is much less than it was just I would say maybe a week or two ago. Everything I'm seeing here with all the news, everything else, I think we will go up higher. We will then eventually come back down 20, 30%, a little bit of a correction, and go up higher from there. It's not going to be a straight line to heaven's doors. It's just going to be a little bumpy ride. We're going to go up 50, 60, 70%. We're going to come back down 30%. We're going to go back up 50, 60, 7% and repeat the process potentially like we've seen here recently. So I think this is just going to continue on here. So great news here nonetheless. I mean, we're seeing more and more like you guys are seeing with the streams that I do. we're seeing more and more good news here. So this is awesome. I love seeing this. Hopefully you guys do as well. Next, let's get to the miners here. So Cipher is announcing proposed convertible senior notes offering and proposed hedging transaction to replace borrowed common stock. So today they announced an intention to offer, subject to market and other conditions, $150 million aggregate principal amount of convertible senior notes that are going to be due in 2030. Cipher also expects to grant the underwriters of the notes offering an option to purchase up to an additional 22.5 million aggregate principal amount of notes solely to cover over allotments. Morgan Stanley is acting as the sole book running manager for the offering. So Morgan Stanley is going to make some money there. The notes will be senior unsecured obligations of Cipher, will acquire interest payable semi-annually in arrears, and will mature on May 15th, 2030, unless earlier repurchased, redeemed, unconverted. So basically, if they repurchase it, they're either going to do it through selling Bitcoin, or if they are redeemed, basically they'll give them shares or something like that, or converted, I think is basically shares there. Note holders will have the right to convert their notes in certain circumstances and during specified periods. Cipher will settle conversions by paying or delivering as applicable cash shares of its common stock, par value of 0.001 per share. And down here, Cipher intends to use the net proceeds from the offering to complete phase 1 of Black Pearl Data Center project, including purchasing at a discount the remaining balance of mining rigs required for phase 1, which I think that gets them to like 23 exahash, paying the expected tariffs and shipping costs for the mining rigs to be used for phase 1, and paying other infrastructure-related capital expenditures in connection with phase 1 and for general corporate purposes. So that's fine there. The original agreement has been amended to include an updated delivery schedule that allows for rig deliveries by June 23rd. So this is the mining purchase agreement with, I believe, Bitmain there. Through such amendment, the company aims to accelerate its rig deployment timeline and offset a portion of the expected tariffs. The company also received a 10% reduction in cost in exchange for the company's early payment of the remaining balance outstanding under the original agreement. So that's good. And then the amendment also provides the company with additional incremental value from BTC-linked call options. Okay, so that's all good there. And then concurrently with the offering of these notes, Cipher also announced that Morgan Stanley, acting on behalf of itself and or its affiliates, intends to offer in a separate underwritten offering a number of shares of Cipher common stock borrowed from third parties to facilitate hedging transactions, whether physical and or through derivatives, by some of the purchases of the notes. So basically, they're going to be shorting the stock there as well, right? They're going to be hedging both sides of the aisle here. They're going to be going maybe long and short as well. So that's part of the game here. Anytime we see this, we've seen other miners do this. Riot, Cleanspark, Marathon. We've seen it also with what's the other one? IREN as well. They all pretty much go through the same thing. That is what it is right now. So it's good that they're not diluting, at least not right now, which I think would be not a good thing, at least in this current time frame. Stocks are way down from where they really should be. So now is not a great time to pull on the ATM or something like that. So doing this does, put them where they might have to dilute in about 5 years or so. But maybe the way Bitcoin goes going forward, with it being an extended cycle possibly, and just continues to go up, over time here, they might be able to do this in a really good way, just like them and other miners as well. So we will see. But this is good news. No dilution, at least from ATM right now on this. They might be still playing on the ATM. I think they might have another one left here. But next one here is on CORZ Scientific. CORZ Scientific has updated their website. And the interesting part of it now is it no longer mentions anything about Bitcoin mining on their website. It is all data center centric. It's everything about data centers and how to scale and how to get high density data center solutions at scale. I looked through this. There is nothing about Bitcoin. If we look at the Wayback Time Machine for Web Archive here for Core, we can see that they actually do have Bitcoin in here, a couple of times listed actually. Operations where they're mining and things like that, high power infrastructure compute. They also have Bitcoin mining here, right? So they are definitely transitioning their business more into data center play than anything else. Maybe they think by removing the presence of Bitcoin mining there, that maybe they get a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Not cred, but maybe more more investors willing to buy into them, and they're transition into data center player than a Bitcoin miner, right? I think that's kind of, they're trying to push that off to the corner there a little bit, kind of go, yeah, we do this, but we don't want you guys to really know about it. It's just something that we do in the background, right? This is the focus that they're going for here going forward. And like I said before, they still have, or at least they're supposed to get about 15 exahash of the block miners sometime in the second half of the year. We'll see if that actually still plays out, or if they just go, forget it, we're just going straight into, we're going to mine what we have left on the machines that are left over for Bitcoin, and then eventually we're going to sell those out and go completely into just a data center play, which might be the case. We'll see. Time will tell on that, but that's kind of the path that we can go there. All right, so there's that one. Just wanted to point that out to you guys. I thought this was interesting. And then finally here we got Riot. Riot announces upsize of credit facility to 200 million with Coinbase. So they are now kind of the same spot that Cleanspark is in. Cleanspark also has a $200 million credit facility with Coinbase right now. And Coinbase is becoming one of these facilitators of these things here, which is kind of interesting, right? They're going to be making some money on that. Quite a bit of money, actually, on these guys. But it's also good, right? They do have an ATM. I still believe that they have an ATM. You guys probably know this better than I do, but how much do they have left on their ATM? I'd be interested to know that there on it. So they're going to do that. It's going to be basically at the going rate for interest rates right now as it is. And I think this just gives them more optionality, which is fine. I think they had it up to 100 million here previously. Now they have another $100 million to use on that. And it just gives them more optionality to, pull money from, and they can pay it off, do whatever they need to do with it. But it gives them a revolving line of credit, basically, there with Coinbase. I'm sure it's going to be possibly backed by the Bitcoin that they have here. I don't know if they provided it up here. I don't think they did. Yeah, but I'm guessing it's going to be backed by the Bitcoin that they have. So this is all good. I'm fine with this. I have no problems with this, as long as they use it properly. And that goes for all these companies here. All right, but that's it. That's all the news stories I have for you guys here. Let's get into the MNAV for the companies. I did update that spreadsheet here today, along with the institutions, to look at how those have been buying in the last 6 months and the last month here. And the miners, when we look at the market to net asset value for these guys, MNAV, comparing it to what their HODL is and things like that, where is that MNAV right now for these guys? We can see BitDeer right now, as of today, is at 319. So that's pretty high here. They appear to be getting much more appreciation on their efforts than anybody else here is. Bitfarms is at 0.96, Cipher 1.81, pretty high up there as well. Cleanspark 1.16. CORZ is negative because they got a boatload of convertible notes and things like that. That kind of skews the numbers there. Hive actually, caveat with Hive has now reported their Q4 numbers, which are our Q1 numbers. Those will be coming out in a couple of weeks. So their data is based on the Q3 figures for them, which for us was Q4. So this is old data here, right? They're getting 1.35 based on that. And then Hut 8, 1.42. Marathon, 1.15 MNAV, and Riot, 0.94. So we got maybe Riot and Bitfarms being the only ones that are kind of under MNAV, right? They're lower than 1 here, those two. Everybody else is at least a little bit positive, if not nicely positive on it. So that is it on the MNAV. You can also take a look at the MCAP to HODL here. So this one looks at what's their HODL, what's their market cap, right? So how many times does the HODL go into their market cap? You can see BitDeer goes into it 23 times. Bitfarms goes into it 5 times. Cipher 15 times. Cleanspark only 2 times, right? Their HODL there. Core 31 times. Hive about 5 times there. Hut 8 goes into it 1.6 times. Marathon only 1.1, and Riot 1.56 times. So you can think about it a couple ways. One, that like Marathon being at 1.1 is kind of crazy, right? Their HODL is valued at close to their market cap of 5.7 billion. Their HODL is worth 5.15 billion. Where's their other stuff? The assets, everything else that they have. Yes, they have some convertible debt that's going to be due in about 5 years, but still, right? Doesn't make any sense there potentially on some of these guys here. So something else to also take a look at, I guess, when viewing the miners and evaluating them based on many, many different metrics here. Next, we're going to take a look at is the institutions. How have those done in the last 6 months and the last month here? Are institutions still buying into these guys? And the short answer is yes. For the most part, institutions are still buying quite heavily into these guys here, even more so than retail is. Retail has capitulated. They have given up. They have put their hands up in the air, and they are done with Bitcoin miners, right? But the institutions, patient, willing to give it a little bit more time, they're buying into these guys. So here's these two charts. We have it from the last 6 months difference on these guys here. And we can see here price percent difference from 6 months ago, and then have the institutions, how many shares the institutions have added actually in the last 6 months here. So Hive has the least amount of shares added by institutions, only 3.6 million. Then you got BitDeer at 13.4 million roughly. Bitfarms at almost 45 million, I guess you could say. IREN 15 million, Marathon 52 million, CORZ Scientific 67 million, Cleanspark 68 million, Riot 89 million, Cipher 133 million. And then you can see it looks like BitDeer right now, at least from 6 months ago, is the only one that's actually up in stock price wise, up 5.41%. Everybody else is down quite a large amount here. It's kind of interesting on that one. From last month, really like to see what's going on there. And you can see that BitDeer is up 66%, while their actually shares by institutions were actually sold. They had 1.2 million shares sold out of them from institutions. Hive was up 30%. They had 400,000 shares bought in from month over month. CORZ Scientific up 57% here, 1.6 million shares being bought by institutions. Cipher up 37%, 5.1 million being bought. Bitfarms up 18.9%, 7.8 million shares. Marathon up 15%. With 7.9, almost 8 million shares being bought by institutions. IREN up 42%, only 13 million shares being bought. Riot, 25% here with 24 million shares being bought by institutions. And Cleanspark up 10%. It looks like the lowest amount out of these guys here in the last month over month numbers, and it's up 28 million shares being bought up. So kind of interesting. Are they, shorting shares there? Is that what's going on there? Are the shares being shorted there? I don't know. I don't have that information on there. And then when we look at the percentage owned by institutions here, CORZ Scientific has the most, 89% of their shares are owned by institutions. Cleanspark is second to that at 68%, Cipher 67%, Marathon 65%, Riot 61%, IREN 58%, Bitfarms 27%, along with Hive, and BitDeer's at 24%. So kind of interesting to note there. Analyst high price targets changes. So I'm looking at just the high price target changes for these guys here by analysts. In the 6 months, we had Mara come down about $12 from their high price target by analysts. Cleanspark is down $5. IREN is down $3. CORZ Scientific is down $3 as well. Cipher is down $2. Riot is down $2. Bitfarms is down 50 cents. And Hive is actually up $1. And BitDeer is up $4.80. Right? You're seeing institutions buying into it. And what's happening here? Well, at least analysts giving a higher price targets. And we're seeing BitDeer here over the last 6 months, or last month, be up 66%, being up the best, and over the last 6 months being up 5.41%, right? It's the only one that's kind of done that. Interesting to note. Analysts' high dollar changes here. This is on the 1 month. We saw actually BitDeer come down $5 on that. IREN down $3, Cleanspark down $2, Riot down $1, CORZ Scientific down $1 as well, and then Cipher, Hive, Bitfarms, and Mara were all flat on this. I don't have Hut 8 in here because Hut 8 has not provided their operational update for April. And that's when usually I would update also their institution number. So that's the reason why it's not in here. On that one. Okay, analyst high price difference from current stock valuations. So this is how far, so this is on the high side of things. Analyst high price targets for these guys and how far away the miners are still from that, right? Cleanspark's $15 away from that. IREN about $14. Marathon $13 along with Riot. CORZ $12 away from their target. BitDeer $10. Hive is about $9 there. Cipher about $5, and Bitfarms about $3 away from their targets from analysts at least on the high side of things, not the low but the high. Okay, and analysts high price percentage difference from the current stock valuation. Well, Hive should be up 528%. Bitfarms should be up 401% if it was to reach the analyst targets. IREN 267%, Cleanspark 257, Riot 246, Cipher 238, Core 210, Marathon 185, and BitDeer 166 as it is. And then here are the current stock prices for these guys here. So, all right, so you can see where things should be on these guys. Right, for Cleanspark should be like $24, something like that. For Marathon, it should be like closer to $30. BitDeer should be around, it looks like based on their numbers, BitTier, that doesn't seem right. That's 15. Is BitTier around $15 right now? Might be. For whatever reason, that just threw me off there a little bit. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. But here's all the data that I track and everything else. So kind of interesting to take a look at. Yes, institutions are still buying in, right? Because they got time, they got patience, whereas retail is all about now. It's all about me. It's how fast can I make my money grow. It's not about looking into the future and where can things grow for me at that point. So patience, my friends, patience. You got to have patience in here. But that's it. Interesting to look at this stuff as always. I like looking at it just to see where the institutions' heads are at. What are they doing? Right. I also like to look at the short interests that's going on in miners. Right. What's going on there? So we can. There's two things. I think this is two things that we can kind of take a look at what's going on with institutions, shorting, and then as far as accumulation is concerned on these guys here, and compare things how things have played out. So kind of interesting there. I do believe much better days are still ahead of us, but we'll see. That is it. Spreadsheets, as always, are available for Patreon members. Link for that is down in the description. If you want to join there, you can join a couple bucks a month, and you help support what I do, which I greatly appreciate you guys for that. I probably don't say it enough, but I do greatly appreciate your support there. And what else? Oh, you get access to the private Discord server as well. Okay, that is it. That's my sales pitch. Let's get into Q&A. See what you guys have to say, any questions, things like that, and we'll call it a day. I mean, it was another good day, more or less. Where's my Q&A? There it is. All right, let's see what Bitcoin's up to right now. Bitcoin's down just 0.16%, 106,707. We're not doing too bad. We need to get above that 107,250, 300 mark, something like that. Once we do that, we'll be looking much better here. As always, if you guys could preface the question with a question mark, I'm going to scroll up to see if there's any questions and work my way down as always. And be patient. I will get to your guys' questions. And I probably should say hi to a bunch of you guys, Alexander, Martin as well. Let's see. Ethan's got a question here. Thoughts on Mara at 16? Yeah, I think they're undervalued. They should be valued much higher. They're basically being valued on their HODL right now, not accounting for any assets that they have, revenue and things like that. So that's kind of where I'm at. All right. Let's see. Okay. Treat has a question here. Emmett and his groups, don't know if you know them. Maybe by their, I don't know if it's their X usernames. Maybe by their X usernames, I might know them. But they said miners are crap to invest because of dilution and less profitability. If there's no miners, how is Sealer and other entities able to buy them? Well, yeah, I mean, you're always going to have miners, right? There's miners that are private, there are miners that are public. The public miners do dilute quite a bit here recently. We do have, I think, only one miner right now that's not diluting. That's Cleanspark. Others are still pulling on the ATMs and things like that. That's, I think it's accretive as long as they build out and grow. And then if they sell at certain times their Bitcoin, I think that's also good. I'm not a big fan of companies just holding on to everything for the long period, especially miners. Right? If you're MicroStrategy or Strategy, that's different. You have a different flywheel at that point of how you're accumulating Bitcoin. So, but that's kind of where I'm at. All right. Miner Degen says, I'm convinced miners won't run until it's alt season, the last few weeks of the cycle. I don't even know if we're going to get an alt season, to be honest. I think the alts, people got burned on those too many times already. Maybe some of the bigger alts might run a little bit. Ethereum, Cardano, what's the other one? Solana, Cardano maybe a little bit. Doge, right? Those things maybe will run a little bit, but other things, I don't know. But I think Bitcoin's still going to maintain and increase its dominance there. All right. Question: do you think Trump is trying to bankrupt most public miners in America to put his son in dominant position to move into mining space in a year with America Bitcoin with tariffs? No, because it's also impacting his son as well at that point, right? But his son only owns 20% of American Bitcoin. 80% is owned by Hut 8. So I don't think that would do any good for them. I just don't see it. I don't think so. All right. Brad's got a question here. Seb, do you have any updated price targets for Cleanspark, Mara, and IREN? My updated price targets are based on the last month's revenue times 12 months. And that kind of gives me a price target more or less where there should be valued at right now. But as far as going out to like the end of this year, where can they be? I think it's all going to be dependent on where Bitcoin is. And I've definitely stepped down my estimates to the minimums, right? Where I think the minimum would be. me having those nice targets of $70 and like $80 for Mara and things like that, people were saying that I was pumping the stocks and things like that, which I never want to pump the stocks. I just want to provide you guys with good data, kind of where I think things might end up at, right? Where I think things should be worth. Obviously, it hasn't played out yet, but the cycle's not over yet with. So I think I'm not saying we will get there. I'm saying we might get there if the exuberance returns back to the miners and they do much better. But overall, if Bitcoin goes up 2x from here to 200,000 like that, I would think the miners would do at the very bare minimum. It would be like a 2 to 3x. They can do a lot better than that, and that's all going to be gravy and, you know, icing on the cake, whatever you want to call it. It's all going to be great for us at that point. But yeah, they're all really, really undervalued right now, in my opinion, as it is. Sadie, thank you so much. The likes do help the channel and doesn't cost you guys a thing. All right, Ben's got a question here. When Ben from Bitfarms said they will reach 21 exahash at the end of the year, shared that they will be more conservative. Meanwhile, we are investing. Is this legal? He must have known. Well, that was their targets set out by the prior, you could say administration, or whatever you want to call it, the management there, I guess. And then when he took over, he made some changes that he thought were more aligned with them. I don't know if that's legal, but I would never sue him on that unless it was like, you know, they're getting 21 and they only get to 7 exahash or something like that, right? A third of that or something like that. But I would never sue anyways. It's kind of like, you're investing this, you're a big boy and girl, you should do your own due diligence. And if you see questionable things, you need to get out, right? And that's kind of what I did there once they started talking about time frames being extended out and then also reducing the growth that they're going to have. I sold 2/3 out, right? I was still in the green there. You know, that's my way of kind of minimizing my downside potential. But yeah, I'm not a big proponent of legal action on, you know, companies you invest in, unless they absolutely do you wrong. Okay. Bitch82's got a question here. What will global hash rate be at year end 25? I'm thinking it will track BTC with similar ratio that it is currently. I mean, right now we're at what, 870 exahash roughly, I think, on the 30-day average. Let me see if I can pull that up here really quick. And maybe we can extrapolate some data out of that, see where things are shaking up to be. But we've seen a growth. Let's see, let's go on the 30-day average on this. Pull this up on the chart for you guys here on the screen. So here's the network hash rate on it right now. This is on the 30-day average, and we're looking at basically a year out. We started out roughly around 760 or so, 770, 780 the year. Yeah, 780 is where we ended up, 780 exahash. We've gone up to approximately 862, so that's what, 80 exahash in about half a year. Based on this, if we continue to see this kind of increase, I would think we might be at about 900 and I would say between 940 and 980 exahash, right? It's not the huge increase that we've seen before as far as percentage-wise in the past. In 2024, we saw a huge increase. It almost, I think, doubled, right? Did we double here? Let me see here. January 2024 is where we started out, right there, 500, right? So we went up almost 300, so it wasn't quite a double. But we went up 280, almost 300 exahash. So that's a lot. That's a huge gain there in a year. We also saw quite a bit of gain here from the beginning of 2023 as well. That was a double, I think. From the beginning of January, that was, let's see here, January 1st, right there, 248, so 250 exahash, beginning of January 2023. And by the time we got to January of 2024, we were basically at that point, 500, yeah, I mean, we were at 505 exahash. So a double there. That's where I remember the double being in 2023. So percentage-wise, we didn't quite get a double in 2024, and that's why I'm thinking right now we'll get, you know, maybe another 80 to 120 exahash added or something like that. Maybe even less than that, depending on how much miners pre-bought for the potential of the Bitcoin going parabolic, right? And then that's going to be kind of a pause there. A lot of these guys were preparing in 2023, 2024 for this halving event to have much better miners and have things coming in at that point. So we might have a little bit of a reprieve happening with the network hash rate not going up as much as we thought it might. Last year I thought we were going to be about 800 by the end of the year. I came pretty close to that from where we started out. This year I'm saying Yeah, 940 to like 980. I think is we'll end up somewhere around there. All right, so all right, covered that question. Next question here. CSH says Bitcoin briefly traded above 107,000 on Tuesday after Standard Chartered's Jeffrey Kendrick reaffirmed the bank's 500 price target by 2029. Okay, I think it's just a lot of stuff, right? That all the adoption happening, I think that's all driving the price of Bitcoin higher. Hello, Obama says, honestly, I think we touch all-time high today. Well, it'd be nice. Be nice to see that. Heinz's got a question here. Excuse me. Will hyperscalers move away from Bitcoin mining? Hyperscalers, they don't mine Bitcoin right now as it is. So they don't do that. I mean, are you talking about like, will hyperscalers push the miners away from Bitcoin mining? Maybe that might be the case if they offer them, a lot of mucks. That could possibly happen there. Hi, Sonny. I see you came in as well. Thanks for coming in. All right. SA's got a question. Will Bitcoin hit 200,000 this year? Bernstein Analyst expects that to happen by the end of 2025, according to Monday Research Note. It's possible. I think it's definitely possible with Bitcoin. We don't, I think it's possible. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Heinz got a question here. CoreWeave versus CoreZ Scientific. Two different breeds there. CoreZ Scientific is trying to become a hyperscaler, kind of like AWS by Amazon, right? For HPC/AI infrastructure. CoreZ Scientific is trying to become a data center player, providing the data centers there. But CoreWeave is trying to provide that access to customers to use those GPUs and everything else. Two different breeds there. And CoreZ Scientific has Bitcoin mining still, at least for the time being. Andre says, I think Bitcoin needs to consolidate sideways for another week. That might be the case also. We've seen consolidation happening here as well in the last several months, going back a year probably. So that might be the case. We'll have to wait and see. All right. Let's see. Some investors are betting that Bitcoin could surpass 300,000 by late June. That I don't see how that would happen. On the crypto options exchange, debit call options expiring on June 27th with a strike. Was it that early? I thought it was like later out until like 2026. I thought that was out. Maybe I read that wrong, but yeah, I saw that 300,000. That would be crazy if that happened. Okay, H says we could chop until next Monday, but that will be the final straw. Okay. Chris says this must be the impersonator of Chris, if this is the case. Cleanspark sucks because Chris has been all in on Cleanspark. We got a battle with Chris this year, it looks like. Emery's got a question here. Any possibility manipulation, not a trap, grabbing liquidity to buy low? FTX reimbursement of $5.5 billion on May 20th, 21, 22. You think it might be a trap? I don't know. Anything's possible, but I think we're going to go up higher, regardless if this is a trap or not. If it is a trap, we're going to go down a little bit, then we're going to go back up. And then here's Chris. No, Cleanspark is amazing. Scammer. Yeah, so there's two of you guys. Either that or Chris, you got dual personalities, right? I'm kidding there, of course. But then if anything, Chris, if you're the real Chris, change your username, possibly. Let's see. Bills fan says, I'm long on my minor positions, thinking of taking a 2,000 loss to buy altcoins. Would you wait it out in the miners or make the move to solely cryptos? Personally, this is just me personally, so do not take this as advice or anything like that, financial advice or anything. I have pretty much given up on altcoins. I've tried altcoins in the past, got rug pulled too many times, lost money on them. I'm done with them. So that's just me. I would not go into them. I think there's more. I don't know if there's more, but I think for me at least, I understand the miners. I understand their business better than some of these altcoins. Altcoins, to me, some of them are just like wannabes of another coin. So yeah, I don't. That's just me though. H107 is incoming here. Well, we're at 0. We'll see where we go. We're 106,000. We're not too far away from it. $120 some or so. All right. CG's got a question. What miner will perform the best from now until year end, in your opinion? Oh boy, that's always tough. And the reason it's tough is because all you need is one good news story from one of these guys, and they're gonna take off like a rocket ship. So based on where they are right now, based on their valuation, things like that, I still think Cleanspark, IREN have good potential. Hive could catch a nice bid here, getting to 25 exahash by the end of the year, right? They're massively undervalued. Bitfarms as well. I mean, any of these guys could do really well. As long as Bitcoin goes up in value, I think they will all do better. But some might do better than others, which is always the case here, right? Last cycle, we saw Marathon beat everybody. I mean, I think it had double the gains from the second best one there, or close to a double. So it could be any of these guys. Eddie's got a question here. What to add in portfolio, Hive or Bitfarms or both? Both are way undervalued in my opinion right now. Both are basically Canadian miners still. Hive has an office now in, what is it, Austin, I think it is, where they are being domiciled in the United States. They're going to be using I believe they're going to be using the FASB rules or the gap reporting rules here for the United States going forward. They're looking to get more traction from investors, institutions that are based in the United States based on those things. So I don't know. Hive has more growth when it comes to Bitcoin mining side of things. And then Bitfarms is trying to get HPCI deals, right? If they get a nice HPCI deal, that could be really good for the stock. So it's your choice on that one. I think they're both great companies. They are definitely growing, or at least they're going in different directions a little bit. But I'll leave it at that. All right. Do you think Bitcoin will break out before June or after June once options expire on monthly based on feel? I think we're going to break out past the 109 before June. I mean, we only have, maybe 10 days left, 11 days left, something like that. So, yeah, I would think we'd go above it, but maybe not that much above it. Jelly guys got a question here. Why does the market not value miners appropriately? That's a good question. We've been asking that question. I got to sneeze here. Bear with me. Yeah, excuse me. Allergies are kicking in. I think they're hedging their bets on going long on Bitcoin, maybe MicroStrategy, and they're doing arbitrage on the miners. Without the miners, Bitcoin wouldn't exist. Yeah, it feels like they are doing all the grunt work, but not being appreciated. Yeah, I agree. Oh gosh. Oh, I always hate it when allergies kick in when I'm doing the stream, because then I start sneezing and sniffling, and I don't like it. Okay. Question, what about next generation? Are they way too late to invest in Bitcoin? If not, should they stick with FANG? The next generation? Well, we may not have FANG going forward. What if we have some of these guys that are getting into HPC AI that might, I wouldn't say overtake them, but maybe outperform the FANG as far as appreciation is concerned. You could also have companies that are in electrical generation, and you could have companies that are in quantum, SpaceX, if and when SpaceX, or if SpaceX ever goes public, right? It could also do better than some of these guys here. Just they come on, they're saying that they're going to be mining one of these asteroids, right? That are worth trillions of dollars potentially. So I wouldn't say FANG is the end all be all of things. But yeah, the next generation, I think, still can invest in Bitcoin. Excuse me. And the miners as well. Oh, guys, sorry, guys. And gals. Dynamite Uber's got a question here. Do you think the convertible notes were a mistake? 50% of the miners used it, and now all miners are shorted to hell. They were being shorted before that as well. So I think what they were trying to do is play in the sandbox of the big money makers, the institutions, things like that, to kind of buddy up to them. Hey, we'll do these kind of deals with you guys. You guys get to make money. We get to, excuse me, possibly dilute less. Currently push that off to later on. I'm trying to get into bed with them a little bit. I don't know if that was the right way to do it, but I don't know. Time will tell on that. We'll see if they can actually still run when Bitcoin goes to like 150,000, 200,000, or something like that. Sorry about the sniffles here, guys. Let me see if I can mute myself here while I sniffle a little hard. Okay, that's a little bit better. All right, CG says, by the way, the interview you did with Hive was really good. Great discussion. Thank you. I wish the audio was better. Next time the audio will be a lot better. Got it resolved. But yeah, that was actually pretty fun. All right. Can you explain how the Trump tariffs are helping him achieve his goal of us mining? It seems almost all miners are announcing a pause in miner growth. Even Cleanspark won't give guidance. Oh. Excuse me. I think I don't think the tariffs were in place or put in place to pause mining growth. I think the mining growth is paused in response to the cycles that we've seen in the past. I think the miners have learned that you do not usually grow. You don't want to grow too much in the bull run. You want to grow before you get into a bull run. So I think that's what the miners did here. They, purchased a lot of machines before that to get to kind of like where we are right now, where we're expecting the bull run to happen massively here. And in that time, you typically don't want to buy because last cycle we saw the prices of these machines go astronomically high to like 80, 90, even $100 per terahash, right? Some of these guys were paying at that point if they were buying it because they were thinking it's just going to continue to go up much higher in Bitcoin price. Well, they learned their lesson, I think. After 2 cycles being, a lot of these guys being public miners, they learned their lesson not to do that. So I think they're kind of pausing right now just to see where things go with Bitcoin price in general. Okay? Gosh, I gotta sneeze again. Oh, wow, that's really sucks. Yeah. I apologize, guys. Let's see. Do you see Bitfarms grow Bitcoin mining by acquisition instead of organic growth? Maybe buy another miner in the Pennsylvania. They could do that, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think they were concentrating more on the HPCI business of side of things. And the cash they have right now, they're going to need the cash for growing out their HPCI. So I don't think they're going to do that, right? At least not right now. Let's see here. Mine's got a question. Hey, yes, sorry, Seb. That's what I meant. Meaning, will Bitcoin miners move away from business models to such as supercomputers, hyperscalers? We're seeing that a little bit play out right now. Core, right, is moving more into that direction. We're seeing Riot put a pause on their Bitcoin expansion and concentrating more on HPCI. So they're looking to see if they can get the businesses there. If they can get the businesses there, and they can potentially get more and more business as time goes on, then yes, they might. Make Bitcoin mining a side project, basically, right? Depending on the sites that they have now, maybe they're not going to be the best for HPCI, so they'll keep those for mining Bitcoin, and the rest of the time they're going to spend trying to get to other sites that are going to be more appreciated by, hyperscalers or enterprise customers, things like that. So we are seeing that a little bit here right now. Bitfarms is another one, right? That put a pause on expansion for the next year, and they're concentrating on HPCI. Sean says, I'm up on Riot. I go back and forth on taking some profit, but then I think the stock might shoot up and I'll lose out. I don't really need the money. What would you do? Just asking your input. I'm doing the same thing, but I don't need the money right now. I'm up on Cleanspark now. Bitfarms, I'm still in the red a little bit from the shares that I have left, and I'm still up on Mara and IREN. At least I'm up on those guys right now. So it's kind of like I could take the profits now, but I don't need it. I think the miners will run a little bit more in the next 3, 6, 9 months. So that's kind of when I'm going to be looking to possibly trim those positions quite more. But that's just me. Tom's got a question here. With all the good things happening, a parabolic move is inevitable in the next few months, like a diamond formed from pressure. A good analogy there, right? I agree. When will Bitfarms move its headquarters to U.S., you think? I don't know when they're going to do that. Ben has in the past stated that it's going to take him a long time to do that and a lot of money to do it as well. So I don't know if they're even thinking about doing that. Maybe in time when maybe if they get a HPCI deal or something like that and they're making good money on that, they can maybe take some of the money and spend it into, I guess, redoing all their books and everything else they got to do to comply, I guess, at that point. All right. Do you think Griffin will reach $16 after combining with American Bitcoin? Thank you. Depends on the number of shares that are going to be there. So I don't know that amount, and we know that they're going to be a 15 exahash, I think, here sometime this summer potentially, and they're supposed to grow even more. But we need more data on it to really know where they could possibly be valued at that point. Let's see. 8 months ago. I don't know who. A Go IREN CEO said 75 by November. That's not legal. $75. Did he say $75 by? If he did, I don't know if it's legal, but maybe he's saying that's where he thinks the stock should be valued at. But I don't know if he said directly that it'll be $75. See, Jason says, I saw today that BTC on the weekly scale is already at the all-time highs, right? Yep, it is. Yep. Even on the daily today, we had a new daily all-time high for Bitcoin to close at. Heidi says Mag 7 now, yeah. Let's see. Yo says Sebastian's back with a vengeance. Thank you, Heinzie. We talk about these miners and their expansion. Will you ever talk about the picks and the shovel stocks, i.e., Nvidia? Yeah, that's something that I want to get more into, like the AI plays and things like that, the data center plays as well. Get into that a little bit. It's just been crazy here, so I got to do more research on those guys, and I've been doing it. It's just not fast enough, right? Life always takes up a lot of my time, work, family, kids, soccer games, whatever it's got to be. So unfortunately, I don't have unlimited amount of time, right? So as I get the things done, I will provide those things to you guys as well. But yeah, I mean, as far as the miners for the picks and shovels for them, it'd be like Canon, Bitmain, right? Right now also BitDeer with them providing ASICs. And then you could look into like some of the suppliers that manufacture the components that go into the ASICs, whether it's TMC, whoever else makes the boards there or whatnot. And then you can also look at like the power suppliers, right? Who makes the substations, the components that go into it, things like that. You can kind of look at those things as well if you wanted to. Love Guru says Sebastian has a Bitcoin allergy. Well, if it's going down, I'd be happy with that. But if it's going up, I don't want that. All right. Sub, have you reviewed the Pi cycle top indicator on Bitcoin Magazine Pro? Interesting. I have looked at that one in the past. I have not. Well, I probably looked at it. What was it? A couple of weeks ago. Probably need to look at it again. See where that's at right now. But that's if we have a similar cycles here. Kite wins 107. Bitcoin 107. Okay, yeah, we're getting there. Heinzie, hit the like button. Guys, Seb is providing potentially life-changing education. I appreciate that. And it's for free, yeah. Except you guys got to weather through the commercials if you don't have a YouTube Premium or something like that. So I highly recommend you guys get YouTube Premium. I'm not getting paid to say that. I use it myself. It is a huge time saver not to have to watch the commercials. And one thing I've learned here as I got older is time is something that you don't actually get more of. So if you can save a couple minutes here, a couple minutes there, a couple minutes there when watching these kind of YouTube videos and doing research and things like that, it saves you a heck of a lot of time and a lot of frustration there. And it's well worth it. Let's see. Seb is offering wife-changing education. If you got a great wife, do not change your wife. It'll cost you more in the long run. Do not do that. All right. But I've cut up to all your guys' questions here. We're going to call it a day before my nose runs off my face here. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Bitcoin's doing not too bad. I mean, we're up a little bit here, and we definitely want to go above 107,000 here. We'll see. Whether we get it tomorrow or we get it later on in the week, whenever it's going to be awesome. I'm happy for it, and it'll happen when it happens. So we'll talk about it when it does happen, obviously. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll cover anything else that happens with the miners. Any good news that we have on Bitcoin adoption that's going to be also good for the miners as well. We'll cover all that stuff. And I wish you guys a great Wednesday. So tomorrow's hump day. Holy cow. Middle of the week already. Like I said, time is flying by. You don't get more time. So enjoy the time that you have. Enjoy with your family, your friends, your interests, whatever it is. Enjoy the time that you have because you're not getting more of it. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Love you all. Until then,